국내 언론에서 전하지 않는 뉴스, 지금 이 순간 폭스뉴스를 통해 확인하실 수 있습니다.
For almost 50 years, Iran has not only chanted death to America, but followed through killing Americans in Beirut, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Israel. There have been attempts on the lives of our leaders. The red in the Iranian flag may well be the blood of our fellow Americans. Do we want to live another 50 years with a constant threat? Do we want Iran to bide its time waiting for an American president who will acquiesce? Or is this our best chance for a better world? Joining us is Rick Crawford, who chairs House Intel. Welcome, Mr. Chairman. Let's first define for our viewers what success in Iran looks like. What is a successful outcome in Iran?
Well, I think you have to look at militarily, obviously, is the complete degradation of their ability to produce ballistic missiles, nuclear fissionable material, their ability to enrich, and their ability to make war. If you can do those things, that's a pretty big deal. Now, then there's a political construct here, because what we know are the mullahs that, the supreme leader that run the country currently, that doesn't comport with what they think are acceptable terms. And then we have, this ideological bent that basically, as you mentioned in the top of your comments there, they've been the largest state sponsor of terror since 1984, as designated by the UN. This is what they do. You can't take them at their word. You could make a deal. It's not a trust but verify scenario. This is pretty dicey. So I think what it looks like is we need to make sure that we are comfortable with the complete degradation of their ability to make war in any context.
All right, Chairman. So tell us what you're going to be looking for in the days and weeks to come. I mean, in other words, what now? Iran wants to charge a toll. President Trump says we're going to impose a blockade. The two really don't go together unless you can make it all make sense. What are you looking for?
Well, this is not the Panama Canal. So what we have is a natural body of water here. This is not the exclusive domain of Iran. In fact, Oman and the Emirates, I believe, would have at least as much of a claim as Iran does. And, understanding international law, they've got a 12-mile claim off of their coast. This is a 21-mile, at its most narrow point, it's 21 miles between Oman and Iran. Why they think that they have an exclusive sovereign claim to the Strait of Hormuz, I don't know, but they can't use it to cash flow their ability to make war on the region and to engage in funding proxies for the purpose of inflicting terrorist attacks across the world, and particularly at American targets, Israeli targets, and others in the region. So it's not like the Panama Canal where, it was built and then established specifically to do just that. This is a natural body of water. They don't have a sovereign claim. They can't toll it. President Trump has indicated that he will not allow it. This is not the first time this has happened. I mean, they tried this back in the 80s, 1988. I remember it well. I was serving in theater at the time, and I can remember it very vividly. Operation Praying Mantis and the USS Samuel Roberts were pivotal in President Reagan's decision to go in and strike the Iranians at the time. I wish he had finished the job in 1988. And what it has done is given rise to the idea that they could leverage this choke point to hold the rest of the world hostage. And President Trump says, no, not going to happen on my watch.
All right, Chairman, you chair the Committee of Jurisdiction. I would never ask you something you couldn't answer, and I know you wouldn't answer it, but does our intelligence assess generally that the Iranian people want new leaders? Do they want a different kind of government and country? And if so, how can the people compete with a heavily armed Iranian military?
So the good news is what we see are open source, multi-open source reports of an organic uprising, if you will. Now, politically, it's going to be difficult from the standpoint of going up against the IRGC for various reasons. One, the IRGC is ideologically aligned and controlled by the mullahs, the supreme leader. The other thing is that it's, we got to be careful because that culture in Iran has largely been sort of viewed as this monolithic group of people. That's not necessarily true. So yes, you have a large contingency of Shiites, but Iran is Persian. And it's very diverse ethnically and religiously. And so there are other people in the country besides a bunch of radical Shiites. And those people are the ones that are looking for new leadership. And that's a significant number. This is a large country, pretty densely populated, particularly in the capital region and a few other cities. And so I think folks have made the mistake of thinking that Iran was all in one accord, that they were all Shiites, and that they all had this adoration for the supreme leader. That's not the case. We're seeing multiple open source channels reporting that now, that they would basically like to see regime change. To the extent that we can facilitate that, I'd love to see it happen.
Chairman, thank you for joining us, and especially thank you for your service to our country. I think you used to disable bombs in uniform for us. That's probably good preparation for Congress. Thank you for your service on both fronts.
Thanks.